SS comes stock with a 6.2 liter V8, 455 horsepower, and 455 pound-feet of torque. This car weighs in at just around 3,500 pounds, which is around 500 pounds less than the Z01, its big brother. 0 to 60 on this car is 4.1 seconds. And price range on this car, you're looking at around $43,000.
The competition for the power of this car is cars in the $60,000 to $70,000 price range. And in terms of power, I would say this car still competes with the BMW M4, which is about $20,000 to $30,000 more than this base model of this car, the Double S Camaro. So
you guys will notice in the right-hand corner of the screen, there's a number there. So that's how we do our review system. And Randy let them kind of know how we do our reviews.
Yeah, so as he said, in the right-hand corner, you'll see that number, and that number is going to fluctuate based on things that we do like about the car and we don't like about the car. So we'll take away points, 5 or 10 points here and there, depending on what specific part of the car we don't like. Specifics like the infotainment center, the exhaust, whatever it is on the car, we'll deduct points based on what we see and what we don't like about it.
Right. So, for example, if we're going up this canyon right now, I actually really like the handling on this car, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it actually hugs the corner pretty well.
Is it
more than what I thought? Because, you know, this.
Do you get a lot of body roll with this car? Or
I would say there is a little bit. There's a little bit of body roll, but it's not so bad that I feel like I'm gonna lose control of the car, you know.
And in terms of the exhaust, what do you think of the stock sound?
Oh my gosh, bro! Like, what the hell? You're gonna ask a damn question?
I'm just trying to get it out. Fuck you, nigga. All right, getting back to it. Is this car equipped with stock exhaust, or is this a aftermarket exhaust?
So the one on this one specifically, he's actually doing work to the car right now. So it actually doesn't even have exhaust tips on the back. It's just open right underneath.
Okay.
And that's why it sounds a lot more aggressive.
No, it does sound really aggressive.
Right.
I like the sound of it, and
I think from what I can hear, it sounds like it's mainly an X pipe back there right now.
Okay.
Yeah, the power band seems to come in at around 3,600, and it's pretty smooth. It's definitely a smooth power band.
It feels really, really good from my end over here.
Yeah. There's definitely not any lag because this car is naturally aspirated. It's not supercharged like the ZL1 is, so you're not gonna get that really, really instant power that comes in the ZL1, but this has a lot of torque still, so you're still gonna have that, you know, that little sensation of Becky being in your lap.
Stupid ass.
Another feature on this car that's actually pretty cool that some people like and some people don't is this car actually does have rev matching. So you don't have to rev match if you don't want to, but there is the option to turn that off. So
how do you like rev matching? Like, is that something that you prefer to do, like as you're driving?
For me personally, yes, I love rev matching. It's just something that I did growing up, learning how to do it, and it's just more fun. So I would actually turn that feature off if this was my car.
Okay.
But actually on this car, it's really good, bro. Like I'm gonna downshift into third right now. It's seamless, you know.
Right.
It feels really good.
It sounds amazing. What's nice about this specific car that I like is that you don't get too much of the engine, you get more of the exhaust.
Right, which is really nice.
There's a lot of cars that are like wimpy in a lot of ways, and you just hear the engine and not the exhaust.
Exactly.
So it's kind of nice to hear the exhaust sound on this car. And
the other thing is too is we don't know exactly how it sounds in a stock Camaro SS because this does have an aftermarket exhaust that he's working on. So I'm not sure what it would sound like on the other one. I'm gonna assume it's gonna be a little bit more quiet
in the cabin area for sure.
Right. So this car has 4 different modes: Tour, Sport, Track, and Snow and Ice. So I'm gonna see what we've been driving in sport mode. We're gonna change into track mode and see if we notice any difference. Obviously the handling should be a little tighter around the corners, and maybe the car will hug the road a little bit more.
So the infotainment center in this car is equipped with about a 6 to 7 inch touch display. It's not that responsive in some cases when you're going through apps and stuff like that, but it is equipped with Apple CarPlay and it has Android as well. So I think it's really good. And then
the other thing is this car actually does have the Bose system in it. We tested it earlier just a little bit, and it actually sounds really good, really tight. And that's how you want it when you have the bass in the car. You don't want anything rattling. You just want it to be a really tight sound. So it actually comes really nice with that Bose system. 4,000 RPMs, 50 miles an hour. That was 83.
Wow.
This car has power.
Yeah.
We're used to driving cars around this horsepower range, so this definitely does feel like, I would say it actually almost feels like 500 horsepower. At 450, I mean, 450 to 500, you really don't notice in most cars. I mean, you could say a car is 650 and it's,
right,
you know, but it definitely does feel like the power is there.
Yeah, no, it definitely feels like it.
So, what do you think about the interior, though?
I think the seats itself on this specific version is good. They're leather seats.
They're
black
comfortable.
And red. They're super comfortable, but they aren't Recaros. They aren't track seats. I guess it really depends on the type of person you are.
And the LE does come with those Recaros.
Right, the LE does come with the Recaros in it, but this one doesn't, which kind of, I don't know, it really depends. I think this car is good if you're going to take it on longer road trips, but if you're just going to, if you're the type of person that wants to take this car to the track, I think you're gonna have to swap out the seats eventually, because these seats don't really hug you.
Which is exactly why the LE comes with kind of a track spec, you know, with the brakes and everything.
Right,
like
no,
that.
the LE definitely comes equipped with everything you need inside of it. I think it's a good sports car with the seats it has inside. I think it's a good daily driver, and I think it's really comfortable, and I think that's kind of what Chevy wanted. So in terms of the quality itself, the seats, I'm not going to take away any points for the seats specifically. As far as the infotainment center, I think the infotainment center is good. I would
take off a little bit of points for
I'm going to deduct 5 points just because the interface itself I don't like as much. It's a little bit laggy. It's a little bit slow in some parts. At least in the 2017 version. I'm not sure if they've made some updates as far as the software on the 2018 version of the with the infotainment center here. There is a lot of, I would say there's some plastic parts to it. There's no carbon fiber inside the interior. I can't really take away anything from that just because Chevy is pricing this car at a really good price.
The heads-up display is really cool. It's really basic. I mean, it shows your gear, it shows your miles per hour, and it shows the RPMs on the left-hand side. But I honestly don't really see it I don't really look at it, to be honest, you know? Especially when you're driving in the canyon, it's kind of not there. I feel like it's probably a really cool feature, especially at night.
Right.
Because when you're driving, you know, it's the digital stuff is all there, and that's really cool. But I think when you're in the canyon, you're more interested in just getting through the corners and things like that. What do you think about the exterior of this car?
In terms of the exterior, I think this car it has its own unique kind of look to it. As soon as you see this Camaro come down the road, you know it's definitely a Camaro.
And there's a lot of them around.
There's definitely a lot of them around, but you know, it does have its own unique kind of look to it compared to German and Japanese cars, you know, which look totally different from these type of cars. I think this car definitely catches your attention coming down the road. However, the front end of this car is really aggressive. I love the look of the actual headlights on this car. The daytime running lights are really cool, but I don't like the rear end of this car. I think it sits really high compared to the front end, which sits a little bit lower. I agree with that. So it's kind of... It
needs a diffuser. It needs something to make it more proportionate, because the front end sits a lot lower to the ground and then the rear is too high up.
I think there's definitely something missing from the back. I don't know what it is, if it's a diffuser or what the case may be, but it's just definitely missing some. So because of that reason, I am going to take off 10 points for the rear. Okay. I'm not a big fan of the rear on this car.
Overall though, as we've been driving the car, like I said, it's been around 4.5 hours. I really like the feel of the car.
Yeah.
I think it handles really well, and I'm surprised.
Oh shit! Oh, the little kids love Bumblebee. You see that? That's a nice pull right there.
So that's 67.
That's 67 right there, man.
Yep. That way you guys can see the acceleration of this car. And that's 102 right there. Pretty quick, right? V8 power, baby. As I was telling Randy earlier, I love my V8. Anytime I want my 8 cylinders, they're there for me, baby.
Now, I'm going to be straight up honest with you.
There's a few cars I want to see go head to head with this car, at least on the road. I know there's a lot of YouTubers actually street racing these things, and there's some head to head that Motor Trend has done over the past, which I've kept up with. But I actually want to see this car against some street competitors. I want to see this car go against maybe the C63, the M3, the M4.
Right on
I would like to see the C63, yes sir. You're making fun of me because I have this stupid thing on my head? I needed to see the freaking thing. Hello, is that a baddie?
Nah, that's not a baddie. I think you got bad eye vision today.
It's because I have this thing on my head.
Oh, okay.
All right, well that wraps it up for this review, man. Let's take this thing to the lake.
Where it is going.
This is
the
lake.
Machine
This
knows.
is the lake.
Stop yelling at me.
No, it's
Stop
up here.
yelling.
There's no road here.
Well, that wraps it up for today, man. I actually really am impressed with the car. There's a few things that I do not like, just with any car. I mean, you're always gonna find things you don't like, but overall, I'm impressed.
Nah, man, today was super fun driving this thing around the canyons, taking it around the street. I think it was an overall fun day, man.
And that's gonna do it for this video.
We'll catch you guys in the next one. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you haven't already.